That was good.
This looks bad. It was good? You have some high quality H2O in there? Yep.
Forgot the brand. Schaefer.
Oh, the water boy didn't make it?
No, not today.
Dang. Good old Adam Sandler.
Oh, I spilled it all over me. It's all right. I'm not going to lie. I did not want to do this today at all.
Really?
Still don't, but we're here.
Why is that? Just not feeling it?
No, it really wasn't. Plus, I had no idea what we were going to be talking about until I walked in, so that didn't help.
But this is a good one. We can speak very long on this one.
Self-control?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
we're going to do a welcome.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? I'm Grayson.
I'm Tyke.
And this is episode 18
Sure.
of the Clear Cut podcast.
Today's episode will be in color and in focus.
Yes.
Just for you.
Yeah.
If you just listened last week.
Congrats.
Yeah.
There was only 3 people.
Oh. Well, I wonder if people listen on their phone, though. If they just put it on YouTube and just like set their phone down.
Yeah.
Because then they'll not know a difference.
Fun fact about Tyke. What is it?
Fun fact about me. Well, I use this in about just about everything, but I have an aversion to white foods.
It's like catfish.
Okay. I'll change my answer. I have an aversion to white liquid foods.
So drinks.
Yeah. If there's a white drink, then yeah, I'm probably not going to drink it.
Milk. I mean.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of milk.
But like, what about yogurt? Because that's like a weird.
Yogurt. It is I'm very particular about what I eat. If it's got like I eat Greek yogurt, just because of the protein in it. If it has got like the slightest taste of sour cream in it, I gotta throw it out.
Yeah, so you're not eating plain Greek yogurt is basically what you're
not
saying.
eating plain Greek yogurt.
That's sick.
A few months ago, I tried plain yogurt because I was going to use it as a cream substitute in a meal. It was the nastiest thing I have ever eaten.
Yes, but I don't think you taste it in the meal that you
Nope,
cook, right? No.
I didn't.
Like some people use it as like sour cream when they do taco stuff, which that to me is still like...
Well, this wasn't Greek yogurt. This was just yogurt.
Yeah, but like plain Greek yogurt even.
Yeah, plain Greek yogurt, yeah.
Still tastes better probably.
Plain Greek yogurt, it just tastes like sour cream to me, and I just can't do it.
Yeah, it's gross.
Like Chobani, the Chobani flips, they're not for me.
Yeah. Self-control?
Self-control. We are. So, if you've been listening through this entire Fruit of the Spirit series, you may have realized that we have skipped some fruits of the Spirit or maybe combined them into one episode. And the reason for that is some of these it's very difficult to talk for a good like 20, 30 minutes on. We don't know...
But
if the writer, when he was throwing out these fruits of the Spirit, if he was just like just that, throwing them out, like, oh, if they follow Jesus, they should have this, like, or was he saying they should have this and it means this, and then they'll have this and that means this? We don't know, and the way I interpret it is the first. I do think it was spoken through God, so God breathed that into the writer's mind, and he wrote that out. But I also think that I believe it was Paul wasn't writing it to like at one point and give a whole sermon on it, on each individual fruit. It's very difficult. Some of them have been fine, but I mean, we spoke on joy. Joy was a little bit hard to speak 30 minutes on, just because there's not much you can speak on for joy. Even last week's episode on faithfulness, right? That was a difficult episode to get through. Today, though, self-control, we're going to skip all the way to the end. I don't think today is going to be hard. I don't think today is going to be difficult to find things to talk about because self-control is one of the easiest of these fruits, I think, to struggle with.
Easiest of these fruits to struggle with.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Got it. Check. I'm sleepy.
I'm like,
So, there's a lot of avenues to start.
yep.
But I think when you focus on self-control and you focus on getting better at it, what would be your go-to to just make yourself pause and think before you speak or before you act it out? How do you make yourself do that?
How do I make myself think about it?
Yeah, because I can sit here, be normal, and be like, oh yeah, I'll just think more before I speak, and listen before I speak, and take a breath before I make the wrong action or decision. But in the moment, how do you remember instantly to just?
Yeah. There's a reason that these are called the fruits of the Spirit. I believe if you're walking with Jesus, walking by the Spirit, you will have these. And I truly believe that if you are not walking with the Spirit, you just can't. That can't be you. You can't be making these split decisions of self-control. You can't have self-control in a decision you have to make very quickly. And I don't think there's a way to make yourself have self-control other than just thinking about everything before you do it. Mm-hmm. In any situation where we have to make a split decision, I believe in that moment, if we don't have the Spirit inside of us, we will not practice self-control, because it's just one of those things that it's so hard. It's so hard to have self-control because we want things on our own time. We want to say things that come to our mind. We live in a sinful, fallen world. We are sinners. We're going to sin. Sin is easy. Oftentimes we want to take the easiest route, and sinning is that easiest route. Mm-hmm. I want to read the definition of self-control. We went away from that for a little bit. But the definition is the ability to control oneself, in particular one's emotions and desires, or the expression of them in one's behavior, especially in difficult situations. That is good. I like that. Don't yawn, you're going to make me yawn. I like that it puts in there, especially in difficult situations, because in easy situations, right, where we don't have to make split-second decisions, like I said, it's easier to practice self-control because you can think about it. But in those difficult situations, like I said, I truly believe it's almost impossible to have it unless you're walking by the Spirit.
Yeah, especially when it's like temptation-wise, and which kind of relates to patience as well. Just because you have to have patience to practice self-control. Mm-hmm.
Or you have to have enough self-control to practice patience.
Yeah,
it can go either way.
I think the biggest thing that comes to my mind is just like peer pressure.
Yes.
When I think of high school and college and things, having self-control in those moments.
Mm-hmm. I still struggle with peer pressure. There have been things in the last month, and I don't even remember what we were doing. We weren't doing anything bad, but it was something that I decided I didn't want to do that. Eat something. We were somewhere. I don't even remember where we were. But you were like, I'm going to do it. And I was like, okay, I'll just go and do it. I still struggle with that today. I can't. Bad things, no. If someone says, hey, you wanna smoke this joint? No, I'm good, man. Or hey, do you want this cigarette? No, I'm good. You wanna sip of my drink? No, I'm good. I have control over those things, but especially when it comes to food, man, I can get peer pressured into eating any kind of food unless it's white.
you trying to go to Las Brisas and eat Mexican instead of eat your lunch you brought?
Gotta pray about that.
That's funny.
I'm surprised you want to eat there.
Let's not talk about it.
Oh man, but there's so many things in life that we can practice self-control in. As I was researching for this episode, what came to my mind was the 1 Corinthians 6, 9 through 10. And it says, "Or do you not know that the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of God? Do not be deceived, neither the sexually immoral, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor men who practice homosexuality, nor thieves, nor the greedy, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor swindlers will inherit the kingdom of God." And although it doesn't say anything there about them not practicing self-control, I believe every single one of those names that Paul was using are people who do not practice self-control. You have the sexually immoral, right? They're not practicing. They are not practicing self-control. The idolaters, the adulterers, men who practice homosexuality, the thieves, the greedy, the drunkards, the revilers, the swindlers. Every single person that Paul described here is not practicing self-control, and I love what he says next. "And such were some of you, but you were washed, you were sanctified, you were justified in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ and by the Spirit of our God." I can right now, reading these, fit myself into... Dang it. I can fit myself into 3 of these. At one point, I was an idolater in the sense that I put things before God that weren't God. I spent more time on things that weren't God. I wouldn't say I necessarily worshipped anything that wasn't God, but I did devote more of myself to things that weren't Him. I'll say I was a thief, not in a sense of like I stole something of importance, but when I was a child, I stole pencils and everything. So like, I still fit. And then I was a drunkard at one point. I drank any chance that I could. But I was washed. I was sanctified. I think so many of us can find ourselves in one of those names, or look back and see that we were one of those names and say, wow, look at where God has got me, or look at where God has taken me from and put me now. Right? And again, one of those, one of the fruits of the Spirit that is so important in overcoming those things is self-control. Because if you have no self-control, you'll be those people.
I accidentally stole something like 3 days ago.
Stole something 3 days ago?
Yeah, or like a couple days ago on accident. I was at Sam's Club.
Oh no.
And I got like this. There was steak, like 4 in a package, and I got 2 packages.
Mm-hmm.
And at the checkout, I just scanned the same steak twice.
Yeah.
And the other one was like $1 more.
Oh.
Because it weighs different.
Yep.
But at Sam's, they also scan your receipt and like check your whatever.
But yeah, too.
So that's how I found out. Because she scanned both steaks and like one of them worked, one of them didn't.
Yeah.
I was just like, what do you need me to do? Like, do I have to go rescan all this, whatever? Mm-hmm. She was like, it's just $1. And I was like, man. I'll give you $1. Like, yeah. I'm not trying to stick out $1 on you. But she's just
I've definitely found myself stealing stuff from stores like that as well. One time, I stole like a whole loaf of bread.
How?
Because I didn't scan it.
On accident?
Yeah, on accident. Okay. In my adult years, I've never stolen anything on purpose. Not that I can think of. I stole bananas one time on accident.
To me, it kind of all comes out in the wash, because you know how many times I've like paid for stuff, but then like forgot to grab the bag on the spinny thing.
Yep.
So Sam's Club ain't hurting for that $1.
And you're
I
like
would've
also
hurting for the dollar.
you're also really generous. So,
Not, it's a Sam's Club. I'm not.
but in life you're really generous. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
what's that $1 like?
Yeah. But if she did that to everybody, Sam's Club losing a bunch of money.
Yeah. I guess you're good for it, man. Your generosity could have paved the way for her to forgive that $1.
Yeah, that's true. I guess
That's crazy, man.
that would have sucked to rescan absolutely everything over $1.
It would
I mean,
have,
I
yeah.
would have. I wouldn't have cared because like whatever. But still, that would have been really annoying.
Mm-hmm. But I want to get into, of course, now what we always seem to go back to. Practicing self-control in a relationship and sex. Right? As I believe as men, we can relate in the sense that it's very, very difficult to practice self-control in those scenarios. Because of what the world throws at us, I believe that's what makes it hard. I can go and watch a PG-13 movie.
You can go watch Love Island.
I don't know what that is.
One of our friends was watching it at my house, and it just like made me feel dumber.
Oh.
It's basically just these people go on an island. It's like The Bachelor,
Oh,
but
okay.
like in a much more modern, college-aged, crazy type of people kind of thing.
Oh, man.
It's horrible.
Okay, speaking of that, I was trying to say like a PG-13 movie, and I can see like a half-naked person.
Yeah.
You can go watch like, what is it, Naked and Afraid? Like it's a reality TV show.
Oh, yeah. It's just like completely naked but blurred.
Yeah, it's blurred out, but like, you don't need much imagination.
Yeah, that's
Right?
there. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
So we're shown all these things, all these images as we grow up, and then when we get a girlfriend, or girls when you get a boyfriend, practicing self-control in the heat of the moment is so difficult. We fall into temptation when we don't practice self-control. We find ourselves in a situation where like, oh man, how did I get here? How did I let myself get here?
Mm-hmm.
And then what comes from that is, of course, guilt and a really tough conversation, a really tough situation that you and your partner have to have then. Because if both of you, let's say both of you are Christians, and you realize after the deed is done that you realize what you just did, you've taken your relationship, you've taken something away from that person, and that person is taking something away from you. And now you guys have to figure out how you're going to live with that, especially if you're wanting to marry that person.
I think one of the hardest parts on that is the biggest deal is losing it, right? Like if you're a Christian, that's the biggest deal.
Yep.
Part of the whole thing.
Yes.
Is losing that. So I think the hardest part is, well, I've already lost it. Yeah, it's still a sin, but it's not as permanent or dramatic as it already was.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's not going to hurt to do it again.
I heard
Which is wrong.
Yes.
By the way.
The youth pastor's wife spoke on that at one point. And, you know, she knew who she was speaking to. She was speaking to the youth, but she knew that, like, there were students in the youth that had already had sex. And she spoke on purity that night. And she said, I understand that some people here may have lost their purity, right? They're no longer pure. They've lost their virginity. But purity is not only an overall thing, it's also a daily decision, right? you have to make a daily decision to be pure. Even whenever you've not lost your purity, you're making a daily decision to be pure. But when you have, it's so important then to do that. Because we can get so caught up in the moment, in the heat of the moment, and do it. But if you're constantly praying, God, help me to stay pure today, and you're acting on that, not just praying for it and trusting God's going to do all the work, but you are doing some of the work as well, then you will succeed. And I'll go one step further. Whenever you find the person you're going to marry, if you can refrain from having sex with that person, I know that sex in marriage is just going to be so much better than what you can even imagine before. Most of the time, when people have sex before marriage, their sex during marriage is just ruined because, for a while you have the honeymoon phase, right, where everything is all perfect. But then once you get out of that and you're just living life, there's not the nuance of sex anymore. And because you got to explore that person's body prior to being married, yes, the wedding night may have been good and the honeymoon phase may have been good, but you lost, however long you were having sex before you got married, you lost that then in the marriage. So if you were having sex for 2 years before you were married, you lost 2 years of that same passionate sex. And now, when you're married, it's just, sometimes it can just be sex.
We have like 7 minutes. Well, we also messed around for a couple minutes, but I think there's another self-control aspect. And it has to do with just struggling.
Yes.
Because you can struggle and turn away from Christ, or almost just hide in your own mental state, in your own house. Turn to different things, right? Drugs, alcohol, porn, whatever that looks like for everyone. Especially if you're a newer Christian, all that becomes harder, right? Because the devil wants to keep you where you were.
Yes.
So I think it's very important to have self-control and just keep doing what you're doing. Keep going to church, keep going to find those connections, keep digging into the Word. I think that's hard self-control too, though.
Yeah.
To keep doing something, to keep having control of that spiritual journey when everything is basically in your face telling you not to do it.
Yeah, it is really difficult. I mean, I found myself there when I came back to church. It was hard to have the self-control not to go home and watch porn and not to go and drink and go and just find the things that I found enjoyment in before, right? I had to learn to find enjoyment in the things that were of God. And like I said, that was difficult because I still had my fleshly desires. They weren't completely gone. I hadn't fully relinquished them. I still wanted them.
Mm-hmm.
I got a few scriptures I want to read. All right. I'm going to read 1 Peter 1, 3 through, or 2 Peter 1, 3 through 6. It says, His divine power has granted to us all things that pertain to life and godliness through the knowledge of Him who called us to His own glory and excellence, by which He has granted us His precious and very great promise, so that through them you may become partakers of the divine nature, having escaped from the corruption that is in the world because of sinful desire. Right? I want to stop there. Having escaped from the corruption that is in the world because of sinful desire. We need to escape it. We live in it. We're never going to just completely be out of the world. When we give our heart to Christ, we're not just going to be taken to heaven, but we need to escape the corruption that comes from sinful desires. So when we get rid of our sinful desires, we then escape the corruption. Oh no, it went away. For this very reason, make every effort to supplement your faith with virtue, and virtue with knowledge, and knowledge with self-control, and self-control with steadfastness, and steadfastness with godliness, and godliness with brotherly affection, and brotherly affection with love. We need to practice all those things. Virtue, and we like Peter said here, you have to supplement each one with the next. Supplement your faith with virtue or excellence. Virtue with knowledge, wisdom, knowledge of the Bible. Knowledge of the Bible with self-control. And then your self-control with steadfastness. Steadfastness with godliness. Godliness with brotherly affection, and brotherly affection with, of course, love. And I mean, love, Jesus said that the greatest commandments are to love your God above all others and to love your neighbor as yourself, right? Love encompasses everything. If you have love, and especially if you have godly love, love that is from the Father, then if you have love that's from the Father, I believe all these fruits that we've talked about, you will have those as well.
Like a good neighbor.
State Farm is there.
Not sponsored.
No.
My stepdad works for State Farm. He should sponsor us.
Dang.
I even got the red shorts on.
Yeah. Your name ain't Jake though, man.
It ain't Jake, but I'll change it. I know a Jake. Jake from Jams.
Yep, Jake from Jams.
He also has better hair than me. It's okay.
Good genetics.
Yeah.
His mom's got good hair.
They have the same hair.
I don't know if they have the same hair, but his mom's got good hair. I know that.
Okay.
All right.
Well, episode 18.
Episode 18 is done, and we have also wrapped up our series on the fruits of the Spirit.
What's next? We don't know.
Nope.
But we have a week to figure it out.
Yeah, we have a week to figure it out, and we have you viewers to help us figure it out. If you have a topic you want us to talk on, put it down in the comments.
They don't own a keyboard, Tyke.
They must not. But if you don't have any topics for us to talk on, and you just want to talk to us, ask us questions.
Yeah, Tyke's number is 573.
Hey, no.
I don't know your number.
Okay,
heart.
good.
Come on. All right. Love y'all. Have a good week.
Like, subscribe, and share.
Peace.
Peace.